Yes, welcome to St George's Park. We're here looking ahead to the next England under-21s game against Portugal at the Hawthorns on Monday evening. And I'm pleased to say I'm joined by the under-21 boss, Lee Carsley. Lee, first of all, how you doing?
Yeah, all was good, thank you. Yeah, we had a journey back, obviously from France the other night, so recovery session, -1 session there, so a bit of tactical. So yeah, players are in good spirits.
Let's just reflect on that game on Friday night against France, 5-3 defeat. But I heard what you said after the game, and you talked about how this is a time to really experiment with the team ahead of the Euros in the summer. So what do you feel you learned from that game?
Well, the idea behind the two friendlies and the level of friendlies that we're going to play is that we test ourselves against the best teams. I think it's one of the negatives of this job is that you don't get time to practice, especially as a squad. So it was great that we were able to try something different against a really top team in France. It was a really exciting game, really exciting. I encourage anyone to watch it. It was a great game. Lots of goals. But yeah, it was great to see the players play. I think we have to be realistic now. This is the first time in a year that we've myself and the staff have worked with the players. Some of them we haven't worked with before, so it's I'm excited for the summer.
We'll talk so much about the England team in a moment, but as you mentioned, what a game it was. I just wanted to ask you about two of the French players, if you don't mind. Hugo Ekitike, who got a hat-trick, but Ryan Cherki as well with 2 assists. I mean, how bright of talents do you think they are in that French team, and just in terms of their potential futures in the game?
Yeah, I think like you said there, I think they're both excellent players. But what I would say is I think we've got some really good players as well. We've got some standout players. I was so impressed with the level of our players and the ones that came through, especially the young ones. So I'm excited now for the game on Monday.
Absolutely, and as you mentioned, we've been talking all week at St George's about just how talented this group is. I mean, one of the probably most talented we've seen in the last decade or so. I mean, first of all, what's it like taking charge of so many talented youngsters in these training sessions, preparing for the Euros as well?
Well, it's obviously a big responsibility. The job is to hopefully create a pathway and an opportunity for them to go with the senior team. So, we're quite fortunate that we've had that experience with the senior team, so we can sort of see where potentially they can get to. But the level of players that are coming through and the quantity of them, there's so many. So hopefully they can all get their chance at their clubs. That's a big thing, is that they're playing week in, week out. Potentially in the Premier League. That's definitely going to help us.
Absolutely, and I just wonder, in terms of you with these under-21s, Thomas Tuchel spoke a lot in the last week, so he was questioned a lot about the style of play he wants to implement, high-tempo, Premier League-like football. I wonder, how does that kind of influence you with the under-21s? I mean, do you feel you're already playing a similar style, so actually that really prepares them well if they do make Thomas Tuchel's plans in the next year or two?
Well, I think it's important that we try and dominate the ball. We try and play with control. We want to attack, want to score goals. One of the good things that we've been able to implement in the 21s is the amount of goals that we score. Unfortunately we conceded 5 the other night, but that's we always want to attack.
Absolutely, and just on one of those attackers in general, Ethan Wanier, I know you've been asked a lot about him, but of course it's his first call-up at this level. Over the last week or so, what impressions has he made on you in training, on the pitch, but also off of it?
Well, he's very mature. Obviously he turned 18 the other night, so I think back to myself at 18, what he's dealing with, and the way he's just taking it in his stride. I think it's really important that we understand and support him as much as we can. These players seem to deal with pressure very, very well, and like I say, the more we can support any of the younger players, or all of the younger players, is that's what our job's about.
And just talk to me a little bit about the preparations for the summer. I mean, it feels like it gets mentioned almost every time there's a tournament, but how will you kind of work with Thomas in terms of deciding which players may come to the Euros, or which ones go with the men's team for the qualifier and friendly in the summer as well?
Well, I think a lot of that will depend on how they finish the season. The players that are in form, the players that are doing well, whether they're injured or not. We'll be having constant dialogue most weeks. Obviously, after this camp finishes, we'll go back to watching the players and trying to get the squad together. But like you said, we've got the it's a big challenge to pick a 23-man squad. But ultimately, we're here to support the senior team. So any players that they need, they will get.
I just wonder if there are players who may be featuring for Manchester City or eligible to feature for Manchester City or Chelsea in the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
They, of course, also have a Euros with England.
Yeah, yeah.
How do those conversations work, say, with James McAtee or Rico Lewis?
They'll definitely start after the window. I think it's important that we obviously respect what the clubs want to do. You know, we ideally would want them with us, but you know that's because they're quality players. The negative is that there is a clash. So we'll have to go with whatever the clubs decide.
You talk about when you used to be a player, say at Ethan's age. I mean, can you kind of believe almost how busy the calendar is now? Like you said, I mean, you're having to walk around a Club World Cup as well as a under-21 Euros Championship. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. There's a lot of games, and I think we have to. We have to always encourage that. These games are important to players' development. We value the international programme. Playing for England is a massive achievement, and we have to keep pushing that.
And just finally, with the Euros ahead, I mean, how much are you looking forward to that competition in Slovakia? With a chance to defend the title, with a few new players in the squad as well. I mean, how much is that, driving you right now?
Yeah, well, definitely. I think it's there's always a pressure that comes with England teams, regardless. Even though we've only won it twice ever, 82 and 84. So we were lucky to win it a couple of years ago, and the plan will be that we try and go for it again. So. Having the right players at the right time, motivated to be there, is ultimately what's important.